Once again, good evening, everyone.
Good
Thank you so
evening.
much. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us for session 4 of the marriage course. And tonight we are going to be talking about the power of forgiveness.
So, what is the meaning of forgiveness? It is a gift that we give to someone else that ultimately is a gift to ourselves. To forgive and forget about the hurt is the key. The, Aram- the Aramaic meaning of forgiveness can be translated to return to its original state. It is not about winning or losing, it is about finding mutual understanding or agreement and restoring a relationship to its original state. Forgiving and creates a new restored path that both people can walk along together.
Yeah, and so learning how to say I'm sorry is a skill that does not necessarily come easy to most of us. And in our family, in our relationship, we practice or try to practice being present when one of us is upset about something. It seemed like by being present and listening to the other person's perspective or frustration, we can genuinely come to understand how they feel and give them a sincere apology, right? Or recognize what we did that might have caused them to upset them and so forth. And when you do this, you resolve the pain in the other person's heart and you regain their trust and love towards you. Along with that, you recreate an atmosphere of happiness and contentment once again between the two of you. And for Krasantha and I, near the beginning of our relationship 5 years ago, I personally experienced a lot of hurt that I had not shared with her or felt was unnoticed. And so, for example, I was really proud of the job I had and the company I worked for at the time. And Krasantha said something that felt like her opinion of it was like my work was unimportant or unremarkable. And obviously, like I took offense to that. We had a little conversation about it, but it never really like resolved it. So it was just like, yeah, it's whatever. Like put it on the table. And it wasn't until later in some other conversation that we had that I would come to know that she was actually intended to say that she believed that I was really capable of much more than what that job may have offered. Um, and so, actually, interestingly enough, we had an opportunity to go back to that job for some other reason, and it was like a lot of validation towards what she was saying and what I felt. So it's like your wife always knows best. But in the context of today's lesson, being a rhino, I was not able to hold back my feelings long enough to ask, okay, well, what do you mean, right? I just jumped to conclusions, stuff like that. And when similar situations arose in more recent years, or just instances where the same feeling of being misunderstood or unappreciated arose, it would ignite all these past emotions that caused arguments and led to painful experiences for both of us. So, knowing how we want to communicate with our children in the very near future with our little guy on his way, in front of them, I recognized myself that I was not fully forgiving Chrysantha. Um, and so, recognizing that itself by acknowledging that and genuinely saying sorry to her for holding that grudge against her, we could both open up our hearts and restore our relationship. And because of that, it's really helped expedite the way we have disagreements and our communication. Honestly, it is very much an ongoing effort. So it is. We have to continue to get better at this together.
Right. Sometimes I'm sorry is not enough, especially if you feel justified in whatever you did or said. If there has been a deep hurt, then we may need to say, I'm sorry multiple times, or we may need to pay some additional prices like buying a gift or taking someone out, my spouse, on a special date or making restitution in some other ways. You can ask the other person what will take to earn your trust and love again,
Hmm.
and also saying, can you forgive me? So that's what we've been working on.
Yeah, Achu. Great. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start playing the video. So everyone enjoy this session 4, and we look forward to seeing you briefly after this. Hey, thanks everybody.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session. I feel it's a really powerful one. So, forgiveness is not just something to be practiced between a husband and wife We also need to forgive our friends, children, and our parents. So many people carry anger or resentment towards their parents that affect their relationships. We are the fruit of the mistakes that our ancestors have made, and we need to forgive them too.
Aju.
And that concludes our session.
Yes. So thank you everyone who can make it here tonight, and those of you who are going to be watching this some point this week before session 5. Uh, we pray that you have a good week. And hey, everyone, happy Thanksgiving. We just pray for you and your families and your couples and your um, extended families, and that we can all really receive this message of the power of forgiveness.
Thank
So
you so
thank you
much.
again. God bless you.
Have a
We'll see you
wonderful
next
evening.
week. Yes.